Hello, wrestling fans. Blake Smith from Walking the Ropes, and welcome to another episode of Walking the Ropes Wrestling Review for AEW Dynamite from Columbia, South Carolina. To open the show, we had CM Punk taking on one half of the acclaimed Max Caster. Punk took on one half of FTR last week, and it seems like he's taking on some of the top strikers from some of the top teams in AEW. Caster wraps his way to the ring and wastes no time referencing the Will Smith and Chris Rock controversy. Caster has the opportunity to shine tonight, just like Dax last week, who, in my opinion, had his best singles match ever against Punk. They start out slow, both getting in some offense, but Punk seems to have the edge here. Caster eventually gains control as he heads to the top rope for mic drop, but Punk stops him and sends him flying to the top rope. Or flying off the top rope, I'm sorry. Caster distracts the ref, allowing Bowens to trip up Punk and allow Caster to go for mic drop once again, but he misses, and Punk hits a tombstone and locks in the Anaconda Vice and gets the win. After the match, Tony Schiavone makes his way to the ring to talk to Punk. Punk tells Tony he was hinting at the world title last week, and makes it clear that he is going for the world title. Doesn't matter who it is, Adam Cole, Adam Page, he is going to be world champion before his time is done in AEW. For my WTR scale, I gave this a great. It was a very great match, as well as that promo at the end was just great. All right. For the next bit, we had MJF and FTR talking about all of the posters being put up around the ring, or an arena as well. Wardlow and MJF, they're about Wardlow. And MJF says the name Wardlow is now banned, except for, I guess, anybody who says it from now on, except for Tony. The Pinnacle will be back on top again starting tonight, as they are in 2 matches or just 1. Either way, they plan to be back on top. FTR tells MJF they want nothing or they don't want to get in the middle of the MJF Wardlow stuff, but MJF tells them that Wardlow used to talk shit about them, and clearly MJF is trying to get FTR against Wardlow and on his side more, so that way he has more men against this big monster he's angering. For the WTR scale, I gave this a good. It was, I think, exactly what we expected MJF to be doing right now. We then get a singles match. Jon Moxley versus Jay Lethal. Moxley makes his way to the ring. He's solo again, and it's just not that he needs backup. He's proven in AEW that he doesn't. It's just something I've noticed that since he's been in this team, he doesn't come out with his team. Lethal tries to shake Moxley's hand, but Moxley slaps it away, and they start to go at a very technical grappling match here. Moxley starts to get in Lethal's head, slapping him and then asking to be hit. And what was a grapple fest has turned into an all-out brawl. They spill to the outside, and Lethal hits multiple dives, and this gives Lethal the control as he starts to wear Moxley down. He's targeting Moxley's knee with submissions. They continue back and forth when Moxley goes for the paradigm shift and his knee gives out. He then reverses Lethal Injection and survives an onslaught of big moves, ending with a flying elbow to the near fall. For Lethal, he then argues with the ref and allows Moxley to come back and hit the paradigm shift for the win. And after the match, they shake hands. For the WTR scale, I gave this a great. The match was fantastic. Next, we get a video package for Marina Shafir, or Shafir, I think is how they're saying it. She's shown very dominant how she's been on Dark and Elevation, and clearly she's getting a push, and we actually get more on her later. From what I've seen, she actually looks fairly solid in the ring. For my WTR scale, I gave this a good because I wasn't expecting this. We then get MJF making his way to the ring for to be on commentary for the FTR versus Gun Club match. FTR has NWO inspired gear tonight in clear recognition of the bad guy. The Gun Club shows off to start, and it works for a moment, but FTR are the more experienced team, and they show it as they dump the Ass Boys outside. Billy lays out Cash as the ref was distracted, and the Gun Club takes control in the ring. They target Cash and keep him from making the tag, and Cash explodes with a huge flurry of offense, but still can't make the tag just yet. When Hardwood comes in, he clears the ring, taking on both men, but the Gun Club, they almost get the ring, holding the feet of FTR, but they fight back, and then we cut to Wardlow, who is banned from the building. He fights off all the security as he is staring down MJF on commentary. Until what seems like 15 people, I think, held him back and kind of bring him to the backstage area. Billy then tries to help his boys, but FTR hits the big rig and they get the win. After the match, FTR and MJF argue in the ring about Wardlow, but it seems to work out, kind of, although FTR still looks pissed. For my WTR scale, I gave this a great. They did amazing. It was so great what they did here, and I'm expecting something awesome to be happening here with Wardlow and FTR and MJF. Either it being just Wardlow and MJF having to just go one-on-one because FTR won't get involved. I don't know. Next, we get Powerhouse Hobbs and Keith Lee talking about their main event on Rampage on Friday. Hobbs says he is sick of hearing about Keith Lee, and Lee says he commends Hobbs for wanting to go one-on-one, but Hobbs says no one will be basking in anything, and Lee tells him to bask in his glory. And that is the order that it went. It was a little weird. For my WTR scale, I give this a good. I'm excited for this main event. It's going to be very, very, I would say, hard-hitting. We then get the Chris Jericho Appreciation Society talking about what they've been doing, how they're the most dominant force in sports entertainment, and they have been bombarded with people asking to join. Garcia says they have future endeavored everyone in their path and how no one is around to jump them now. And then Hager's like, yeah, see, this curtain's got nobody behind it. And there's Eddie, Santana, and Ortiz. They jump them and they brawl to the crowd into the ring. And Eddie lays out Jericho with a loaded spinning back fist. Then helps deal with Garcia and the rest as Santana and Ortiz set up the street sweeper on Jericho, but Hager and Cool Hand Angelo Parker, I believe, stop them, and the JAS take over. They start to beat them down, and they finish hitting with a Judas effect on Eddie Kingston. For my WTR scale, I gave this a great. It was a fantastic match. It wasn't even a match. It was a fantastic brawl, and just everything that was involved with this was very well done. For the next bit, we get Jade Cargill. She's trying to get her 30th win and hasn't picked her opponent. And Mark Sterling says he's picked Leva Bates, the librarian. Jade isn't happy about that, and Mark says, well, he does have a second option, and Cargill wants that no matter who it is, and it's Marina Shafir. So that'll be interesting. Cargill seems a little overconfident, and I wonder what's going on here. For my WTR scale, I did give this a meh because it didn't feel like we could have done this last week. We could have just had her saying it's Marina Shafir last week, but instead we did the whole party stuff and whatever. I really think she's not winning. I really do. We then get Wheeler Yuta versus Bryan Danielson. Wheeler Yuta gets to take on another shot at the Blackpool Combat Club tonight. He had a good showing against Moxley and then seemed to wanted to join the Combat Club. And Regal seems impressed with Yuta. Bryan seems to be feeling him out and almost testing his technical ability, whereas Moxley tested Yuta's heart and intensity. Yuta actually takes control and locks in a bridged figure 4, or figure 8, if you will. And Bryan fights back and exchanges chops with Yuta and then knocks him down. They exchange kicks and chops, and Yuta fights through and almost upsets Bryan. And Regal is putting Yuta over, saying how impressed he is with him, and I think Yuta's going to be joining this group. He flips out of cattle mutilation and then gets a near fall and fires up, but Bryan explodes out with a flying knee and then stomps him in the face before Yuta spits in him and then locks in the little bell lock for the win. For my WTR scale, I gave this a great. They did amazing in this match. It was fantastic. Darby talks about his match with Andrade and how he just keeps getting involved in all of Darby's matches. He says that to come out and fight, and Andrade goes with no group, no suit, no money, whatever. Just Andrade. Andrade says he will slap some sense into Darby. For my WTR scale, I gave this a good. This is pretty much what I assumed was going to happen when they were talking about this main event. And the next segment, we get the Undisputed Elite's championship celebration. They seem to be calling themselves the Undisputed Elite now as they make their way to the ring with the AEW World and World Tag Team Championships, with their names taped over the real champions' names, so that way they can say they're the real champions. They have a box with party supplies written on it, and it's just a couple balloons that come flying out. Cole says Paige and Jurassic Express are not here tonight because they are ashamed. Says they didn't steal anything because the belts are already theirs. O'Reilly talks about all the haters, but forgets what he was going to say because he's had too much to drink apparently, so he sits. Fish then says they will put their resume against anyone's, and they are the best in the business, bar none. Adam Page's music hits, and he appears in a Tesla with bullhorns on it. And he starts kicking ass. Page sets up for the buckshot lariat, but Fish and O'Reilly make the save, only for Jurassic Express to send them back in the ring and whip their ass too. Page then goes for the buckshot lariat one more time, but Cole ducks it and runs. For my WTR scale, I gave this a great. This has been amazing what they're doing here. I can't wait for the eventual match that will happen. Ignore the sounds you just heard. I apologize for that. We then get Thunder Rosa and Tony Schiavone talking about her winning the Women's World Championship. And I say once again, while she never really got the opportunity to talk about it last time. Rosa says that she came here and said she was going to make women's wrestling matter again. Now she's the face of this division. She wants to be the face of women's wrestling. Rosa says she won't be a pillar, she will be a foundation, and sends a message to Nyla. She will fight whoever, whenever, wherever. For my WTR scale, I gave this a good. This was just exactly what I thought she was going to do. We're finally getting her allowed to talk about her win, and it just builds the importance of this. FTR talks about how people say they take themselves too seriously, and they say they are going to take the ROH tag titles and be the first two-time AEW World Tag Team Champions. But before all that, they want to settle who is the best in the world. So they challenge FTR versus the Young Bucks for the second time. So not the rubber match, but basically, I think FTR won it last time, and we'll see who wins this time. For my WTR scale, I gave it a good. We then get the Owen Hart Foundation Women's Qualifier match. The Bunny makes her way to the ring and is ready to find out who her opponent will be, and Toni Storm makes her way to the ring, and she is all elite. It is Toni time. The Bunny tries to hit her first, but Toni fights her off and takes control. They go back and forth, and it seems like Toni's a step ahead, but the Bunny eventually dumps Toni to the outside, and she takes control. She sends Toni into the ring post and then back into the ring, where she wears down Toni in the corner. The Bunny seems to look to finish it when Storm starts to finally come back. Toni hits a flurry of offense and survives a Death Valley driver, and the Bunny goes for down the rabbit hole, but Toni reverses it and hits Storm 0 for the win. For the WTR scale, I gave this a great. I'm so excited to see Toni in AEW, and I'm so excited to see where she's going from here. We then get Nyla Rose and Vicky Guerrero talking about Rosa and her comments, and Vicky says Rosa fears Nyla, and Nyla says that Rosa is not a foundation, and she will answer Rosa's death wish. For For my WTR scale, I gave this a good. This was, I think Nyla is going to be a very good challenger for Rosa, but she seems like she's going to be the first challenger for pretty much every women's champion going forward, almost, because I believe she challenged Riho first. I believe she challenged Britt first. I believe she challenged Sheeta first. Yeah, she has been the kind of first challenger, and it's been pretty good. My WTR scale, I gave this a good. We then get our main event, Andradelle Edelo versus Darby Allin. This has been a long time coming, as Andrade has been looking for Darby's services for the AFO, and Darby has wanted nothing to do with that. Darby skates down to the ring, and Andrade hits a tornado to the outside, and before the match even starts, as he continues the beatdown, sending Darby into the timekeeper's table, and eventually into the steel steps. They then finally get in the ring, and Andrade takes control and starts taunting the fans and seems to think he already has this won. They go outside again, and Andrade sends Darby into the post. Then Darby counters with a code red and needs to come back with something if he's going to take control here. Andrade takes his belt off, but the ref stops him, so Darby takes his belt off and trips up Andrade, sending him into the turnbuckle, and then hits a stunner for a near fall. After more back and forth, it seems as though Darby has it won when Jose comes down to the ramp, but he's stopped by Sting when the Butcher and the Blade then start beating down Sting. Darby gets involved with this. He takes them out and then goes for a coffin drop, but Andrade has recovered. He stops him and hits El Idolo for the win. The Butcher and the Blade celebrate with Andrade, and then they take out Sting, and Private Party come out as well to join in. The Hardys, they come out and they clear the ring to save Sting and Darby. For my WTR scale, I gave this a great. This has been building. This is going to be a... So we've already had the 8-man match, but we didn't have Andrade in it. I think that's what we're building for here. I don't know how we're going to do it. If we're going to just include, like, Christian Cage or something. I don't know. That's just a name that came into my head. Whatever we do, it's going to be awesome. All right, for the overall for the show, I gave it a great. They did amazing tonight. It was just a great show. My segment of the night is the Undisputed Elite celebration. That was fantastic. I so enjoyed that. The match of the night goes to Wheeler Yuta and Bryan Danielson. They did fantastic. Oh my god. And the performers of the night go to Wheeler Yuta and Darby Allin. The two young guys tonight, they shined so bright. Nothing against, I believe it was Max Caster, but these two just really stood out tonight. They did amazing. But that is all for this episode of Walking the Ropes Wrestling Review. Thank you all for dropping in. If you enjoyed, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon whenever we upload a video, or to get notifications whenever we upload a video. And I'll see you in the next one.